Match day jumpy, boots on turf. Coys in the cami, I'm putting in work. Cool like smoke from the capo's perch. South back shelling man a vibe to berserk. See through at 8, flash get wave. Locos, loco, they can't be tamed. Burgundy and blue run deep in veins. Rapids blood, it floods my brain. Volcan murder, the streets get live. Pre-game chaos, chance outside. During the game, it's war in the stands. Post-match scenes, pure mayhem fam. Real with the vids, no cap, no filter. Mile high hotspot, I'm that builder. Voice of the fans, I ain't no poser. Denver streets to the pitch, it's culture. Leo Coys, that's the name. South Bang lad, I rep that flame. C38, Locos wave. Colorado Raptors, we don't play games. Subscribe, and lock it, never miss the vibe. It's the Mile High Hotspur. Rapids content raw and certified. Leo Coys.
Yes, my homies. Welcome back to the Mile High Hotspur. My name is Leo Coys, and I am joined by the chauffeur, the driver of the Daddy Shuttle. How we going with that one, Crash? How are you doing, you filthy animal?
I'm doing great. I'm on my last night here in beautiful San Diego on my work trip, and luckily we were able to end early enough so I could spend my lovely night with you, Leo.
Let's go, bro. I appreciate that, my homie. Hold on a sec. My daughter's outside playing with the kids, my homies. Look, it's been a long day, Crash. We had a excellent fixture that we're going to talk about. First of all, I just want to say big up to anybody who will be catching this live stream live or either on playback. I want to start off by saying I appreciate you filthy animals joining us. Big up to the C38, the Centennial 38, for everything that they do here at the game, here on game days, and just everything that goes on with the C38. Big up to you guys. Big up to the Mile High Locos who provide tons of sounds for us at the Rapids games and just make the environment and the vibes that much more better. So big up to both I guess sections of the supporters section, if you will. Just want to make sure it's all in there, my homie. So big up to all the yiddies and pitties that'll be watching this. Crash, look, if I was to tell you, bro, when we last kicked it last week, that not only were we going to see a new formation, because we actually seen, like I put in the thumbnail, 3 at the back, or 5 at the back, depending on how you want to look at that. 2 goals from Yappy and a 1-up. And I say 1-up because when you get that next life, you get that other life. It's like a ding, that 1-up. Mm-hmm. I feel like that game was just one of those, bam, Chris Armstrong, one of those mushrooms down saying, I got 1-up. You know what I mean? Crash, your thoughts on everything, my homie?
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, my first thought was, okay, we're back into it. We had a good Cruz Azul game. Georgie's not in the lineup. What are we going to do? What's going to happen? What's Armas got? How the team going to show up? And then we see the starting 11, and we're like, all right, we've got 3 center backs. What is this going to be? And then we see that formation, whether it's a 3-4-3 or a 5 at the back, whatever you want to kind of look at that. And my first thought was, okay, maybe we see a Sam Vines coming out game. It's he's no longer really at that left back. He's really at that left wing back. Which is that Vines back role that he's what got him a bit over in Europe and national team call up. And I was like, all right, this could be great or this could be terrible. I don't know. We've never done it. And it was the first time that we've seen this really formation from Armas since he's been here. And we see the result that we got. And so I was skeptical at first and hopeful at the same time. But boy, did it seemed to be the right play to make against Minnesota.
It actually paid out really good. Minnesota themselves, I'm looking here at this At the sofa score, I have basically just the ratings and the front page, if you will. I'm seeing the formations, and Minnesota themselves look like they played a back five. So, when you think of a back five or a back three, does that just scream kind of more defensively for you, Crash? Or I mean, is there
Yeah.
ways to be able to mix that up and bring the variety? Because and I'll say, and the reason I say that is because when I was looking at the lineup, I thought the same thing, bro. Like how Vines, you seen Vines, and then was it Murphy on the left there behind him? So
Yes. Yeah.
that's kind of what I thought. I thought we were going to do the normal back four with maybe Vines playing up in the midfield. Well, it turns out it was a whole new formation, and I think I've been screaming for this type of this type of formation. It gave us, like I said, the defensive kind of cohesiveness with having three at the back, but it also kept us with our four in the midfield that we're used to having, right? If it's that 4-4-2, we had those four, the two double pivot with our two, it looked like, and then our three up on top. So I thought it was a perfect blend to get. I think, for lack of better words, I think Armis nailed it with his formation on this match, Crash.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and two, if you think about it, without having a real number 10 on the field,
Yeah.
this formation really lended itself to that. Playing the strengths of all the players out on the pitch, right? You've got three center backs, which and I think the key of that was Minnesota is dangerous on set pieces, and
Yeah.
we needed the and they're also not small and not a small team, right? And so they've got a very tall front line. They've got a very aggressive front line, and so the three center backs with having that verticality in the back is definitely something that we needed. And then we've also been seeing a lot of leaky back line, right? Mistakes. 1 to 2 goals a game. And so I think that third center back, especially after the Cruz Azul game with Cobb getting, having a good start with his history with Atlanta, I think Armas felt comfortable and wanted to give it a go. And
Right.
I'm happy he did. And it made sense to me, knowing the set that having that additional center back there for all those set pieces that Minnesota is used to. I mean, they've scored 16 goals off of set pieces.
Wow.
I think they're number one in the league for goals off of set pieces. So he wanted to take that weapon away, and that third center back really is going to help with that. So for me, I think it made sense tactically. But then you're also putting some of your best players in their best positions, right? You've got Cole and Ollie in the double pivot that they're used to. You're putting Sam in a position where he's most effective, right? He's getting forward. Or he's not having to be overly defensive. He's better forward than he is defensively, right? He can still do it, but I think when he gets down the field or gets those passes forward is where he's the most effective. And then you've got Cannon, the same thing. Or he's much more defensively than Sam is, but he can still get forward, which you saw throughout the night. And then the front three, I mean, those guys are attacking all the way. So it really lended itself to the best skills of all the players we had on the pitch. And we obviously saw it turn out.
Yeah. Big up to Drew. Thank you for joining us. My homie says this was a huge momentum game. Look, it absolutely was, considering the fact it ended in a Rapids victory. I want to say that a victory at Minnesota for us is rare, right? I mean, have we picked up that many points in Minnesota before? So I know the last year when I went home, I brought back 4 with me, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a Minnesota's not an easy place to go to. So the fact that we were able to walk away with the 3 points. But here's the thing, Crash. I think the Rapids really fought hard to get those 3 points, bro. Like, this was literally like a smash and grab. Let's take those and bounce type of 3 points. Because I mean, just to kind of get into some of the stats. I mean, let me see if I could pull them up here. Um, I think the only one that favored us, Crash, was the goals for, and you know what I mean. We had 2, and that was probably the only way we the only stat that we won on the night. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Definitely possession. We were definitely outpossessed, which crashes. It's just been a theme of this season, bro. Last stream, I
Well,
think I mentioned we were, my bad, third to
oh, you're
last
right.
in possession.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think too, if you really look at it though, is Minnesota is not a possessive team either.
Oh, okay.
They're used to that playing in the counterattack. They're used to being the ones who have the least possession of the game and playing. And so I think tactically, this formation, basically mimicking to a degree of
Yeah.
what how Minnesota plays was a really smart tactical advantage that Armas took. And so it made them take possession of the ball, which they're not, not that Minnesota can't do it. I mean, obviously they had a good opportunities, and you could see throughout the game, with the number of shots that they took. But we made them play our game, not their game,
Excuse me.
right? And I think that was the key of it, is we forced them to possess the ball, and that's not something that they're used to, and so that probably threw them a little bit out of the loop from what they're comfortable with.
Mm. Well, I mean, you could see right there too the glaring differences in momentum. The Rapids are in the purple on the bottom, and Minnesota is just in that heavy green up there on top. So again, not a game where I would say the Rapids look like they dominated it. We just
Mhm.
literally pieced them up on the two opportunities that we got. And
Right.
let me see, just to kind of go over it, right? It was the 60th minute when Darren Yappy slotted home. I want to say a well taken shot from Darren Yappy, opens up his body off of a nice. He got played on through Sam Vines, which
Mhm.
putting himself in those positions where he I think Chris Armas even said this after the game. Crash, like that play was like stuff that they worked on. You know what I mean? Like feeding
Mhm.
Yappy through that channel from Vines, and Yappy just doing what he needs to do, bro. Opened up perfectly, slotted that goal, the ball in a position where St. Clair wasn't going to be able to get to it, and just like that, bro, like definitely against the run of play, we opened up our account, and then again, what was it, like 10 minutes later, I want to say, he doubled our lead, um with a quick finish from build up from Calvin Harris and Rafael Navarro on this one. Crash, just what would you say as far as Darren Yappy, homie? One, being clinical to put that ball in a great position, and just two, being in the right position, feeding off of Sam Vines,
Mhm.
playing that game plan to perfection, if you will.
Yeah. Well, first, I'll start with the first goal, and you have to address the fact that Sam was perfect on the ball. He that first touch he had to bring the ball down and then the ball forward to and that was a perfectly placed, perfectly weighted ball forward, was exactly what we've been wanting to see from Sam
Yeah,
for the past 2 seasons. And he felt comfortable, he looked comfortable, and I think that was the key of it. And and the fact that he got it to Yappy, and we've been seeing it really for the past, probably past couple months with Yappy. When he's gotten the ball, he's gotten a lot better, and I think you can tell he's comfortable and he's learning from Hoffa.
yeah,
His ability to handle the ball, get the ball through tight spaces, maneuver the ball. He's much more comfortable with it, and then he saw it. He took that, got that ball, got it forward, got it down the line, and saw the space. And instead of pushing it off, he took the one touch, got on the inside of the defender, and then just slotted it home. And
yeah,
the biggest thing that we've all season long have been looking for is finishing, right? Is our
yeah,
as we get balls on target, or we get a couple shots on goal and they don't go in, or we get a ton of XG and we get a ton of shots and we just can't get anything in.
yeah.
And Yappy was able to do it tonight, where he was able to beat St. Clair and really get it past. And they were great finishes, both of them. right?
Yeah.
They were both, curlers around the outside, catching St. Clair either, flat footed or just catching him too quickly where he wasn't able to react fast enough. And they were great finishes both ends for sure. The second one from Hoffa, and again, it was a great pass forward through from starting with Ollie to Calvin. Calvin did the same thing that Sam did. Quick touchdown, get the ball forward, got it straight to Hoffa. Hoffa did a nice hold up play to wait for the guys to get forward, and he saw
Laid it off
Yappy
perfectly. Yes.
coming up with that right side, and just perfect slotted right to Yappy for him to finish it, right there. And I think, that second goal, you saw how happy Hoffa was too, right? He got that, and I think that was the other key of it is, we've been worried about Hoffa for the past couple games. I know he got the goal last game, and we talked about that where he was, patting the crest and pointing to the ground. He didn't want to go anywhere, but you could see how passionate he was just even to get the assist for Yappy and to help him get that brace.
Yeah.
First time Yappy's ever done that in MLS
Yes.
play, which is huge for him. So again, big night for Yappy, big night for the team, and it just shows that when we are at our best and we're playing together and we're playing fearless, we can really produce.
I think that was probably my biggest takeaway from that match yesterday, Crash, was why do the Rapids seem to either play up or play down to their competition, bro? Like when we're playing these bigger teams, that's like when we're definitely like we're aware of the situation. You know what I mean? Like I think we're more aware of
Yeah.
what can happen if things go accordingly, or we also know what can happen if we end up toying it. And so yeah, I just feel like yesterday's game is just a reflection of what we've been having all season long. Crash. We could either have these really good games where it's not going to go our way because we have, like you said, a ton of XG, or we can have these games where we're going to sit back with a bit more of a defensive lineup. It looked like, and just hit you on that counter attack, my homie. And you know, I think the way he set us up with our personnel as well was the best bang for your buck if you're trying to do that counter-attack system. You have Calvin Harris, Darren Yappy, on was it Darren Yappy, right? Yeah, Darren Yappy and Calvin Harris. That's speed, you know what I mean? And Hoffa's always backwards, always a bit more for the back, helping out with the press and trying to build up. So I thought Armis, like I said in the thumbnail, Armis deserves a lot of credit for this one as well too. For, like you said, one, I didn't even look at it this way because I didn't know much about Minnesota, but the fact that you said it almost was like we mimic them to kind of disrupt their flow or whatever makes a lot of sense, bro. It makes a lot of sense for Chris Armis to do so, and you hit the nail on the head with the hammer, bro. Is he now that we've gotten rid of, arguably a piece in Georgi Mihailovic, who, if he's fit, if he's in the locker room, he's probably going to take a spot. And now that we don't have that 10, I'm very excited to see what we could do with this squad going forward. Crash, a couple of streams ago, I said, I want to believe that this is a blessing in disguise, Georgie leaving, my homie. You know what I mean? Because it's going to give opportunity and it's going to give more chances to some of these players that need to step up, bro, that need to take advantage of their opportunities, Crash.
Yeah, no, definitely. Losing Georgie's a blow for sure, right? It's a big loss, and a big time of the game, and you never know quite where a team's how they're gonna take that. And we go into the Cruz Azul game with a lot of R2 players and a lot of rotation, and we still come out with a result, right? I mean, Cruz Azul is arguably one of the best, if not the best team, in North America, right?
Yeah.
And so for us to be able to go into that game and play the way we did was a good bounce back from Georgia leaving, and then this game itself was a statement game to say, hey, we've moved on. We although we need that position, we're good. We can handle it. We can step up. We can
Yeah.
perform. And I think I have to shout out my man, Afa Navajo, for really being the guy. And I think, I was worried, and I'm still worried, he might, not be long for the Rapids, because you never know what could happen, and money will talk to a degree, and I understand that. Um, but um,
Mhm.
but his play on and off the ball and defensively and in the attack, he is by far night and day the hardest working one of the if not the hardest working striker, but if not one of the hardest working players in MLS. And he's all over the field. He was the best player at every position last night. Defensively, in the attack, on the ball, off the ball. I was just so impressed everywhere he was on the field, because he was saying, you know what, I'm going to carry this team, and I'm going to drive them forward, and you could really see it. And I was just really happy, because he made it hard for Minnesota United. He did not like he whether he was stealing a ball in defense or he was pushing forward on the attack. They didn't know where he was coming, or whether it was in the press or otherwise. I was really excited to watch him, and was really impressed with him. And I hope he's here for the long time, because he's our guy for sure. Oh, you're muted there, buddy.
Oh, I think he's yeah, thank you. It's because I don't want the motorcycle getting on. I think Hoffa is lining himself up, and like you said, depending on what happens, my homie, to probably lead this squad for hopefully a couple years, a few years ahead, because you're right, bro. Like what it takes for one of these players is to play for the badge, have it on, just have the team in your heart, and the fans absolutely love Rafa, my homie. So he's got a good thing going with Yappy. I mean, whenever I see social media postings with Yappy, I see Hoffa right next to him. You know what I mean? So even in the same car where they just released the Rapids did this whole like away experience where they did like the kit manager and like
Oh,
all
right,
the
right.
yeah, it was a good piece that the Rapids did.
On
And
Elevate.
yeah, like the away day type stuff. And who comes pulling up in the same car while Darren Yappy and Hoffa, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that chemistry hopefully is spreading more to the locker room as well.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
and and I'll say that, let's kind of stick on Yappy for just a second. Yappy came in. He got his call up to the first team in 21, I think it was. And you look back at in 23 when he was the guy, right?
mhm.
He like we didn't have any other strikers, and he was the guy. And he didn't get a goal. He was struggled. I mean, the whole team struggled at that point, right? And then you get into 24, and Hoffa's really there, and you get Armas is there, and you can see the amount Yappy has developed
Oh
over
yeah.
the past 2 years with working with Hoffa directly and with Armas directly. It's a different player. I mean, we all knew he had talent, and we knew he could be, a good solid striker, at least in the MLS. We knew we had a talent with him, but oh, hold on here. Sorry, my computer here went funky. If you can't hear me,
You're
there
good.
we go.
I hear you.
Uh, but anyway, so the fact that he's really turned a corner and become that really solid second striker for us is amazing. And I'm just excited. I know we were in some of the group chats I was in, we were talking about it, and is he gone? Is he looking for? Are they looking for a loan deal to Europe or something? And it's possible, I think, but I think if he's smart, I think he's really enjoying what he's playing. And if Hoff is here, you see him stick around for at least another season to just learn, to stay under Hoffa, develop, stay under Armas, develop, and I think you could see a potential for him to move on to maybe something bigger here in the next year or so to see what happens. But I'm excited. Yappy's doing amazing, and you can't ask for more from a homegrown kid for sure.
Oh no, absolutely, bro. I think what Darren Yappy just needed was more seat time. You know what I mean? Just get in the seat, just drive some more, and it's paying dividends, my homie. And we cannot wax lyrical enough on Hoffa, being that mentor type to him, and I think, I mean, well, obviously we don't know these guys, but I think they might have a lot in like similarities. You know what I mean? It seems like they get along together because they're kind of very similar in the type of play that they have. So maybe definitely. Yes. Did we shout out Sam Vines? Have we shout out Sam Vines that much? I mean, I'm a big critic of Sam Vines, bro. Trust me. I talk so much shit about Sam Vines, and it's because like he's one of those players that you would expect to kind of have some more umph about him, if that makes any sense. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he had some time in Europe, whether if it was a lot or a little bit. I mean, he's not that unknown compared to the rest of our Rapids players. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the bar is set a bit more higher for a player like Sam Vines, in my opinion, which is why I'm a tough critic
Yeah.
on him. But I think defensively, he's not the best, but offensively, if we're gonna be playing this formation, that's his position. You know what I mean? That's his
That's
position,
it.
Crash.
Yeah. No, and I think it's right. I think Jeremy hits it right. And I know I talked a little bit about him at the beginning, but he was played in his position, right? That, like Jared says there, back five serves him well, right? Or at least the wing back role, right? Whether it's back three with center backs, whether it's further back or further up, that wing back role is it's the Vines back, right? He needs that cover behind him to allow him to also get forward on the ball. And I think when he's played the back four, that's the issue, right? He gets forward, and then we only have two center backs at the because either him
Yeah.
and Cannon are forward, and then we have no coverage back there, or we're trying to do that with a defensive midfielder, and so I think this position is what he's suited for and what he's comfortable in, and what why you saw him do so well. I mean, I think the ratings you look at Vines, it's probably one of his highest rated games he's had all in the past 2 years. Got an assist on the night, but definitely a solid play all around.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, there's no mistaking his delivery. He has very good crosses into the box. I think sometimes he's even our set piece taker from that side, if I'm not mistaken. He's even good for a free kick or two on that side. So I know he's
Oh
definitely
yeah,
got it in him, my homie. He's definitely got the
well for
service
sure.
into him.
Yeah, I mean him and Cole are I think that was the other thing is if Cole didn't really work out necessarily on the set pieces, Sammy would be the one to do that. I mean they're always there. Yeah, I agree there,
That's
Jared.
a
Yeah,
good
Max
comment.
who,
Yeah.
he's not the best defensively, and I think Maxu was really happy to have two other center backs next to him this game.
Yeah.
Where I think where Cannon is more defensive, right? He can be that defensive one-on-one, right back. Sam's not, right. He can hold up play, but he needs support, and so
Yeah.
I think that's we're playing guys in where they're more naturally uh, beneficial. So yeah, great game for Sam. It was if anything, it was his coming out game, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Mm. I, Chris Armas this season has been a fan of replicating what's been working a bit until it doesn't
Mhm.
work anymore, and then he's been trying other shit. So I'm pretty
Right.
sure we're gonna see this formation again. Um, Jeremy says, "I love having Cobb back there. He's been good and vocal." Have you seen much of Cobb, Crash, in the games that you've seen? Has he stuck out uh both negatively or positively for you and chat?
No, yeah, I mean, for me, definitely positive. I didn't watch him enough during the Cruz Azul game to I saw him here or there, and you could definitely tell he was new to the squad. But you could see solid defensive play from him, which I think was good. This game, though, I think especially with Maxu and Murphy there alongside him, he had that coverage. I mean, he gets forward. He is not afraid to go and attack the ball, and try to
Yeah,
win it back. And I think probably having the back three allows him to do that and gives him
yeah,
good coverage behind. but he was not afraid. I think that was the key about it is he's a young center back, and you'd think new team trying to make your way in the squad, and he was not afraid. He played really fearlessly. I think he's not afraid to go to ground, which may or may not be a good thing.
Right.
You could argue that the goal that they did concede, did begin with him because he did go to ground a little too early than I would think. But that's me nitpicking. There are a couple other things had to happen for that goal to come through, but he was playing his man, and I thought he did a good job, and I think he's got a good future for sure. And I think it's definitely a lot of the qualities that Armas likes in a young center back. So I would not be surprised if he gets his option picked up next season.
I agree.
But we'll just have to see what happens.
I think even the ratings reflect there. On the day, I think Murphy probably, and if I'm not mistaken, Crash, wasn't Murphy really to blame on that goal that we conceded? I mean, wasn't he just like caught freaking ball watching or something like that, if I remember? Um,
Yeah, you could depend on how you want to play it. It's he was definitely, there was Vines and him kind of guarding the Vines was guarding the open net next to Zach, and it was Murphy there in front.
yeah.
I mean, I forget who had the goal from Minnesota. He was wide open. There was nobody
Yes.
marking him. He was right in the center of the box. It was a great pass forward, and he just passed it into the back of the net because he was that open. Maybe Murphy could have gotten before it got up a little bit closer, but definitely wasn't his best in that situation. But he definitely didn't have a terrible game either.
Yeah, Jared makes a good point. Holding should reduce the
Yep.
Murphy role dramatically. We'll see what happens there. Definitely
Yeah, it
excited to
will be
see that.
interesting to see between Cobb and Murphy who gets more minutes when Holding finally gets into the squad. But yeah, Jared's
Yeah.
good point. Yeah, when we have, I mean, it's just like when we had Cheeto, right? Murphy didn't get a ton of minutes, and if we have a back three, it'll be interesting to see who wins out between Murphy and Cobb.
Yeah. Crash, you have a feeling we're going to be seeing this formation on the weekend?
I don't know. It depends. I haven't really looked into Atlanta and what they typically do for formation wise. So I'm not sure. It worked. It seemed like it made sense. Not having a natural 10,
Yeah.
lends itself to this formation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it come back. But Armis likes to keeps the other team guessing. So I'm not sure.
That is true. Yeah, that is true, my homie.
But I
Crash,
think
was
the key
there
of it,
any
though, I was going to say
what was
one
that?
thing. The key of it, though, we've seen multiple formations that have potential of working. I think we look back when we first did that 4-2-2-2 formation, we won. Then we rolled it back and we
Yeah,
lost. We've seen different formations throughout the season, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see this next game. But
true.
it depends.
Well, and I think I mean I definitely could be wrong here, but it seems as though like every time Armis has kind of thrown out a new formation, it seems like we've won. You know what I mean? Like we've won or had a good result. Almost as if he like his hand was forced into kind of making that formation change, and it paid dividends, bro. And then it just seems like we get a little bit too stubborn with it and then keep trying it, but it is what it is. Any glaring takeaways from the game, Crash, or any glaring like I guess things that may concern you, being that we're
No,
so close to the end of the season?
glaring takeaway is Zach Steffen is still on fire. He's
Yeah,
had one of the best seasons that I've known of him. Last year we can look back and obviously we had a really amazing Leagues Cup run, but out of that, he definitely didn't have the best form at all times. And just like when Nico comes in, I'm not worried. Zach has been stepping up. He's been making saves. Um, you know, you might see a mistake here or there, and that does happen. But this season, he's been pretty solid. The majority of the time, and I think that's one thing we got to talk about. I think according to the scores, he had the best ratings of the night.
Yeah, he did.
Had some really good saves. Had some really good saves that we'd expect him to make, and then we had some really good saves that he needed to make, and he did all of those outside of the one goal. So again, all night long, he's again he's wearing purple. So I feel confident anytime I see Zach wearing purple. So that's always a plus as well.
Yeah, he had 9 saves on the day. Yeah, always good to have a keeper like Zach Steffen. I'm pretty sure if we were playing 2 at the back or 3, or however you want it, it's always going to be a better lineup when you have a player like Zach Steffen in between the sticks, my homie.
Yeah.
Look,
Well, and I think
I just
too,
want,
there was a couple real
yeah,
quick on Zach before we move forward. One of the things too that I think is really beneficial for Zach is he's pushing the team forward, right? I think there was a couple moments that I saw him yelling at the back line to just get the ball forward, right? And I think that's the thing is he really commands that line backward, and know he's like the back line's like listening. He's like get forward, drive the ball,
yeah.
and you started seeing it move forward. So I'm excited to see where we can go. And I think, with that back three, that just adds a little extra protection back there. And, you're seeing anytime you see all green on the back line, that's always a positive thing.
Yeah, yeah, and with that big hefty blue back there too. I mean, that's a good performance from our back, from our defensive line there.
Absolutely.
Look, just glaring obviouses or takeaways for me would just be, I think the Rapids are going to continue with their mindset that like they're just not going to give up. You know what I mean? They're not going to hear the bell, and they're just going to keep fighting. And I think that's testament to Chris Armas and his style, right? His belief, his own attitude at second chances or just not giving up. And we've definitely we've signed the guy that we were kind of rumored to get earlier on. I know we ended up making that one. I don't know if that's official yet or not, but I know we ended up signing the other player, the Manyoma or
Alexis
who?
Manyoma.
Yeah, did that go through?
Mhm. Yeah. So
Don't know too much
both
about him.
Both Rob Holding and Alexis Manyoma are official. The only reason why they're not on the squad or in the squad or training with the squad at the current moment is because their visas are delayed or in process.
You need
So
to
I
have that
can't tell you
Hyunmin
when that's
Sun
going to
money.
happen. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I don't. Unless you're a son, you're not getting your visa approved in a week, apparently. Hopefully we. I mean, ideally, I would love to see an announcement that they're in the first team tomorrow. I don't personally see why it couldn't happen, but I also am not in the visa approving game, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, I get it, bro. Look, I thought fair play to LAFC. I don't know why I'm saying that, but they got it done right away, bro, and got him over the line and in that kit and on the field quick. So
Yeah.
it could happen. It's just money talks, homie.
Money does
Crash.
talk, and I think if you're one of the elite teams and maybe the favorites in MLS, maybe they can grease more wheels than they would if you were
Absolutely.
Rapids. I will say there are
Absolutely.
other teams in the MLS that are also waiting for their players to get visas
Yeah,
finalized. So we're not the only ones.
yeah,
So maybe MLS could distribute a little bit of that wealth across the board so we can get all these players in.
I agree, bro. I definitely agree. I kind of wanted to have a quicker stream today, Crash. We're at 40 minutes, bro. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to add to
No,
maybe
the
something
only
we didn't
piece that
talk
I did,
about?
the one piece that you touched on a little bit, but is the grit. The grit of this team. Armas only made 2 subs throughout the
Mm,
game, and that was for Murphy for Rosenberry,
yeah,
and I think it
your
was
boy.
ADP for Harris, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe
Yeah, yeah. Who
I'm sure I
came
think
on
it
for
was
Harris?
Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah. So only made 2. One, there's two things that make that concerning is why did he only make 2 subs?
Mm,
If you watch that game, the end of the game, the team was just dead. like they gave every ounce of their energy that they could to finish that game out. So why didn't he bring in anybody else? It's because we didn't have anybody else, right? We had Wayne Frederick and a bunch of R2 players on the bench. Not saying that they don't have a potential, but when you're in that type of a fight at the end of the game,
That's what it is.
who are you going to trust?
That's what it
And
is.
the other side of it, though, is that we saw grit and fight to the final whistle with no give up, no quit, constant effort from the team for the entire time. And that was what I was probably more proud of than the win, was just the fact that I never saw any of them quit the entire game. And so if we see that every game from here on out, I'll be happy even if we lose a few or we don't make the playoffs, because I think that's the key that we need to instill as the framework of this team, is that we're a team that will play until the final whistle's blown. We will put every ounce of our energy on the field, and win, lose, or draw, that's we gave it our all. And I can't complain. I can't. We don't have all the players. We don't have all the money.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put it in there, and we're gonna play our best. And I think if we can play like that, we could be a real contender. And I don't expect it, but crazier things that happen. But if we play like we played last night, and we played against Vancouver, and like the comeback in Seattle and things like that, like we've shown that we can play with the best teams. So why not us?
Crash, I've been looking at this season as like the glass half full, right? I've said plenty of times, bro, but if we just get this lucky bounce and this goal goes in, like we're talking about a different position in the league, and it's a testament to how close we are. That's a testament to how close the Rapids could really be, bro. Like we're not we're definitely far away from championship caliber, but from being competitive, from being in the playoffs constantly, for fighting constantly, we have one of the main pieces already on board, bro, which is players in the locker room that are willing to fight. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
it's not the size of the dog that's in the fight, it's the size of the fight of the dog or something
Yeah,
like that,
right.
right? And that's
That's it.
exactly what it
Mm-hmm.
is with this Rapids team, bro, is
Yeah.
which player's going to step up, which player's going to be the one for the day. You know what I mean? It's a team sport.
Yep.
Why can't it let's just mix it up and just play with your heart for the rest of the season. We don't have too much to go, Crash. Who knows what's going
Mm-hmm.
to happen in October? You know what I mean? Who knows where we will be at by then? But if we continue to just keep fighting, then we could definitely be talking about being in the playoffs, my homie, and
For
seeing
sure.
where that takes us to. Not really far off. Just imagine if we see this is he feels it too. Just we're not really that far off. Just imagine if we had another DP or two,
Yeah.
and
Well,
patience,
I
I
think
guess.
in our last one of our maybe a couple streams ago, we were talking about what do we do, how do what do we have to do to get back, and I said we have to win these Minnesota games. This game and our home game against Minnesota are the key to our chance to move on. Those 6 points against them are we could move up into a relatively high seed in the playoffs if we keep playing this way. But we have to win these games against Minnesota. We have to win that RSL game, and we have to win that LAFC game, right? Everything else, those are the games that are going to define us, right? The games we should
Yeah.
win, we need to win, and then we have to be competitive otherwise. So I'm excited to see where we go. We definitely have some winnable games, like Drew says here, coming up. But the thing that
Absolutely.
worries me the most is that the winnable games have been the games that we haven't won, and so it's a mentality thing that we have to get over. And if we can get
Yeah.
over that and show that, yep, winnable games are games that we're going to win every time, then we're dangerous.
Will be nice to add Bryce Jamison. Exactly right. Next season, we're adding Bryce
Mm-hmm.
Jamison. He's found his scoring boots of late, and I think will be written into the right side of our attack in Penn next
Love it.
season. So that's what I was just going to say earlier. Like, I think with the work that the Rapids need to do, it's probably just a bit like maybe 2 more, 3 more transfer windows of patience, because it seems like and I don't mean I don't really want to read too much into the big homie P. Smitty, but Drake Smith said the other day, you know what I mean? He said that they're working on stuff, you know what I mean? So obviously, I guess it sucks, but we just have to kind of just see
gotta
what
move on.
they're gonna see what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
Well, and any transfer that comes in are going to be, take a while to get into the team. It's no matter what,
or
it's
temporary
going to be challenging. Yeah,
crash
or temporary. Yeah, for
or
sure. Yeah,
temporary. So it
yeah.
could
We've
just be
got
a
there's
stopgap
some
from now
good,
till then.
promising people. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And
So,
and the key of it, I think, is going to be we need, no matter who comes in, if they're coming in with MLS experience, even if they're temporary, then I'm going to be excited or have
yeah.
potential. If they're coming in outside of the league and they've got to get that MLS experience and understand what the league's like and that challenge, then it's going to be next season. And I think that's the
Dude,
key. So we'll see what
I thought
happens.
I thought it was actually kind of ballsy to put that out there and say like, look, we're gonna do whatever we really can do, even if it's temporary, even if it's temporary type fix, we're gonna try and do something to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
I thought that was a ballsy move to say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially saying that, look, we know what's going on. We might just band-aid this for right now and try and focus on this in the long term,
Which is
or
smart.
maybe or maybe vice versa, focus on this the short term and band-aid for however they want to do that. But I thought it
Mhm.
was a good piece. You know what I mean? I know we haven't really talked on
Hey,
that because I think that came out
for
since we
$8 million, yeah, for sure. For $8 million that we got, I mean, or nine, depending on how you look at it from Georgie. I mean, think what we can get. I mean, what Lucho just went to Fluminense down in Brazil for $3 million. We got Hoffa for around 3 to 4 million. Georgie came in for 3 to 4 million. You look at what we've gotten for that money. It makes total sense that he's talking 3 to 4 people that we're trying to get, and not just one
absolutely.
big player. And
Yeah.
and the way that we've been able to scout lately, I'm gonna say not always, right? There's some misses for sure, but it seems like the bigger players have hit more than they've missed, or maybe it's 50-50. But even if we get 50-50, it's gonna be better than we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hopeful, at least, to get somebody in the season that is just going to at least help us get over that line. And if we can
Mm-hmm.
get over that line into the playoffs, then who knows?
Yeah. Bro, I agree, homie. I definitely agree. Well, Crash, anything that you want to plug, my homie? Anything you got
No,
going on?
no, man. Nothing crazy. If I've been posting quite a bit on Twitter at Daddy Shuttle there, so feel free to join me there and chat back and forth. I try to stay as active as I can there. Probably when I get back into Denver and back into real life, I might not be able there as much. But if you want to chat with me, happy to there. Otherwise, come find me with you on the streams, because love having everybody jump in the comments and chatting pitties.
Well, I mean, Crash, I don't know if you noticed, bro, but you're part of the thumbnail now, bro. It's Rapids, talking Rapids with the homie and Crash, because I mean, we just had to throw that on there now, bro. We just had to throw that on there already.
Love
So
it. Well, I appreciate it.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
well,
this is so much fun.
yeah. Well, my homies, I had a long day. I am knackered, as the homies would say. I think we're gonna end this one off. Anything I want to plug? I just want to say, I got a Premier League prediction battle that I'm doing with the subscribers. Basically, I'm gonna post every fixture from that week on the post, and then whoever wants to predict them, I'm gonna pick a random subscriber's comments, and I'm going head to head with you know what I mean? It's Leo versus the homies. I'm going head to head
Nice.
with the subs all season long. So look out for that. And of course, we're doing the Spurs play this Wednesday against PSG in the Super Cup. Ooh, it's gonna be a tough one, my homies. But I'm gonna be getting it with the rest of the Colorado Spurs doing the damn thing. Look, my homies, I appreciate you, whether you were watching this one live or coming back on playback. Thank you for joining us. Where you could get all your things Colorado Rapids with the homie and Crash. Let's go up the pids.
Out the pits, guys.